Now, it's technically very early on April 13th, but I count this as the 2 series per day still, so you know. Hi, my name is Sebastian. This is Vision Denial and the Road to MSI, where I watch all the playoffs of every region that are qualifying for MSI. Yes, all 12 of them, including that one. We go to Brazil with Pain Gaming versus Flamengo Esports. Esports? No, it's Flamengo Esports. I don't know why I try to say it that way. Oh, it was very slow. Okay, it wasn't that slow. It was just a 5-game series. Pain wins 3-2, and credit where credit is due. Pain, you definitely stepped it up. Good job. I do think that there's a long way to go. So let's talk about the good things, because there isn't a whole lot, but there is some stuff here. There's some repetitiveness between the drafts. Not a whole lot of it, which is a step up from Pain Gaming's previous drafting. That being said, I do think some of the choices are a little bizarre. And I think this stems from wanting to go comfort more often than actually going for something that could be, I don't want to say viable, because the meta currently is very bizarre, where there's a viability primarily in terms of jungle and what synergizes specifically with jungle. So jungle and support are very limited in terms of the pool that they can play, but everything else is wide open game. So I don't think it has more to do with viability. I just think it shows clear levels of comfort. Flamengo, however, is... I can see why they were seeded 1, despite the loss here. They definitely had a larger sense of what was needed for setting up neutrals. They were the much better setup. They were the team that was better at setting up neutrals. They were the team that had a more consistent and stronger game plan in terms of vision. Pain steps it up slowly but surely over time, but it's not super efficient, and it's very hard to properly see what they're aiming for. It's not it says one thing and they don't actually go for it, so it renders it a little inefficient. Flamengo seems to be also drafting more consistent team compositions. They, however, also falter under the repetitive issue. Yeah, so game 1, game 2, game 3's is the same as game 2's, game 4, and game 5. Yeah, they're solid compositions. I have no complaints about the way that Flamengo draft compositions. I think the biggest issue that I have is that they're very much a reactive team, and I'll say this time and time and time again every time that we're discussing the minor regions. Being a team that is good at punishing in a smaller region, or in a region before an international, and that's the thing that actually gets you by, spells more bad news for you long term than it spells good news. And if the whole goal is to make it big in your own region, great. Keep up with very good punishing, but I will always put the advantage and my preference to teams that are proactive, that are consistent at the way that they approach things, and that they don't ever falter after a mistake, right? They make a mistake, they reset, they redo, they keep going, right? And in this case, Pain was significantly better at this. They also have their moments of brilliance where they're able to punish overextensions, because it doesn't seem like Flamengo over here, whenever they're trying to do engages or team fights, Sometimes they overextend. There seems to be a disconnect between their ability to recognize when an engage is bad and recognizing when their own engage is bad. For 4 games in a row, though, Pain Gaming, your minion wave manipulation is like non-existent. Just gonna double check my notes here. No, the game 1 they played it pretty good. Get more aggressive every game. No, okay, I retract my statement. I always double check I usually double check the notes before I record the videos, but this time it's late, so I just did it immediately. No, Pain Gaming, solidly doing much better in terms of wave manipulation. What my brain was actually trying to go for here is that they don't look like they have a game plan. Like, they know that they have to strike first. They know exactly what the win condition is, but not like a plan of execution. Because they don't usually set up wards. They don't do anything to do proper neutral setups. In fact, I think that between the two, Flamengo was much better at it. There's also inconsistencies in terms of herald use between the two of them, but that's like a whole other topic. And I think that herald use is like a boon, but usually not an indicator of like proficiency with the team, because that one mostly relies on, like, there's a couple of things here that can really determine if their herald use says a good or bad team, but they're minor overall. I think that would make the difference maker if the two teams are equal and everything, and like that's the only box, but that's rarely the case. No, Pain Gaming doesn't seem like they have a very good game plan. Nothing about the way they set up neutrals indicates that. Nothing about the way they ward says anything about that. What is said, however, is that they have very good team dynamics. They have very good team fighting in general. The problem is I don't think they understand also, and I think this is an overall like issue with Brazil, is that they don't understand when their engages are good. They have a good understanding of how to play out team fights, but not necessarily what makes their team able to win in one situation over the other. I think it's just like a quick, they do a limit test and then they just run with it. And that's the indication that I got for a lot of these games. I also want to say that Pain is also pretty efficient when they have Baron. That's something that also surprised me. Pain was like not super Baron dependent. Like there was like tendencies to that. But when they had Baron, they closed it out very quickly, and they didn't necessarily always opt into going to Baron to finish off a game or to even like gain leads. It wasn't one of those things where like they hovered one side or the other, ooh, where we're gonna go, and then they just wait and faff about without doing anything. No, they solidly are consistently putting up pressure, and I think because we have to compare them to the lower regions, right? Between the, so if we're going to go from the bottom half of the table versus the top half of the table, bottom half of the table is Japan, Latin America, Australia, Turkey, and Russia. If I was to place, if Pain was the one to qualify, because again I don't know, I'm trying to avoid all spoilers. I have like a thing that I go through for like the schedules without showing any spoilers, and I just go so far. If I was to indicate how I think Pain would do amongst what I've seen so far, I don't think they'll do well against teams that are part of Russia. I don't think they'll do well against any of the Turkish teams, but I do give them an advantage slightly to the Japanese teams because they play on a much lower pressure, or they like play with less tempo. Not like by much, but I give them a slight edge, and I give them a much bigger edge against Australia for now. again, there's a lot more to see, and at some point I'm probably going to review a lot of these. But if Paint improves the way they're doing now, that shows a lot of good stuff for me. It's a lot of confidence, and I appreciate that. It's one of those things that like gives you hope, especially for the first two series that I watched from this region. Not great. That being said, a lot of things still concern me, right? Like, again, the repetitive nature of the drafts themselves, the fact that some of the choices show comfort over the actual like synergy of the team, and it's fine for the most part, because like if you're trying to get through and be able to qualify and show that you're the best team, I'd rather a team that is able to know exactly how their compositions play out than a team that just tries to like outthink or copy what's going on and not fully understand or be fully prepared to actually execute it, which I think is what Flamengo over here was doing. So just, I don't know, practice more different types of compositions, stray away a little bit from comfort just to be able to say that yes, I can do this when I go to the international stage. But we still have two other teams in Brazil, right? Those being Vorax versus Red Canids. And I haven't seen Vorax yet. It's a dope name. What the hell? Small regions have really cool names. So like we'll see how that team plays out, right? But overall, I'm genuinely impressed by the improvement between their first series and this series, especially since they're a 5th seeded team against the 1st seeded team. It's a lot of promise. Let's hope they don't just drop the ball randomly. Oh, right, and before I close out, I do have a concern about the top laners. And oftentimes in international competitions, the rest of the stack may like do fine, but top laners are the difference makers. They have like a weirdly pivotal role, and like all the roles are pivotal for different reasons, but like top lane has a weirdly pivotal role in terms of determining which teams are better on the international stage. Like, yes, certain roles will have like big difference makers, like Faker in 2015 or Chovy last year would like huge differences, and like Nuguri against everybody else. But it's specifically the interaction of the top laner with the rest of the team vis-a-vis the opponent's team usually indicates me more which team is going to win in a series than almost anything else. And I haven't fully put my finger on it why, but I think it's because of the way that it indicates a stronger sense of how they want to play the way that like the map play, the macro play. So that's a worry I have. This region seems to have top laners that are very that are either left to the wayside or are just not good, relatively speaking. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. Next up, we go back to North America. Holy, it's been a while. For Cloud9 versus Team Liquid. So that'll be interesting. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.